Let's just get into it. So, hopefully that person who was so excited about whether or not we were going to talk about it has left and has no idea we're about to do it because I don't want them to hear us talk about it. They don't deserve it. Let's talk about Endgame. I listened to the score, and by the way, heavy spoilers here.
All the spoilers.
Yeah,
all
so
the spoilers all the time.
If you haven't seen the movie, then you should probably shut this off. You come back and you watch it whenever you want. I was listening to the score. I love that Apple Music.
I know. I'm going to look into it now.
Best. You ever had it?
Really? No. I'm a big Pandora. Well, we got Alexa, so it's Amazon Music.
It's 100 times better than anything that I've ever had. Apple. You get Apple Music. It was like $9.99 a month or whatever. Okay. So you just download everything. It just goes right to your phone if you're at Apple. And I have Apple
on your iPhone.
Yeah, and I have and I just got Endgame the score. Listening to it on the way in, dude. It is so good.
Yeah,
and even better than Infinity War because if I picked up a lot of
the movie or just
the score, the movie in general, but obviously, but the score itself. There's so much stuff that Alan Silvestri's doing in this one. There's like this one track that I forget. It's the How Works. I can't remember what it's called, and it has like this jazzy kind of feel to it, right? And I kind of remember where it was in the movie, but now that I've listened to it again, it's so brilliant. It really it's called the How Works. The How Works.
Okay.
Yeah, there it is. So you you can Alex, if you can put your headphones on, just go to the part where he, the little jazzy part with the piano, because you can hear him playing like the piano part with
a little jazzy part.
Yeah, you'll hear it. Yeah. And when you find that, just let me know. But the movie, right?
Yeah.
It was. How many times has everybody seen it?
Only once.
Just only once. Okay, I'm the only two.
I'm gonna go probably this week or weekend.
Yeah, I'm going this weekend again.
Okay.
Me too.
Is that it? You got it? The piano part?
Not yet. He just started listening.
Oh, okay. The opening scene alone. Because if you come around from Infinity War with that snap and everybody's just gone dust, that when you open up with Clint, everybody knew that his family was going to get dusted in that scene, right?
Totally.
Hawkeye is what you're.
Clint, yeah.
His name's Clint.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't hear you say Clint. I was
Is that
just
it?
telling people what you're talking
like,
about.
Clint
Here you go. Listen.
So great.
Where is this in the movie?
It's when they figure out how to when after Clint goes back in time and they realize it works and they're working on it. It's like it's kind of got like a Mission Impossible
When he's
feel to it.
looking through the window at his.
Yeah, when he comes back. Like, so you start the beginning of this track, it's right as he says, it worked. Can you start the beginning of the track? Maybe he says, it worked. And then they go into the whole thing.
God,
So cool.
Yeah, it's so good. Anyway, that opening scene when the family gets dusted, it was, even though you knew it was coming, it just knocked me off my ass, right?
Yeah, it was heartbreaking, and I love how it set the mood. That like we're getting now finally. Everybody's like, "Where's Hawkeye in Infinity War?" It's like, here he is.
Yeah.
Goes through tragedy, sets up his character as Ronin, and then you're off and running, and that mood is set. I loved it.
It's so good.
And do you think that's what the Hawkeye series is going to be? That 5 years between dusts?
That's a good idea, actually.
I mean, him kind of running around as Ronin.
That's a
I
great
don't-
idea.
I don't think so because I think that the Black Widow movie is going to be that 5 years, and I think.
Oh, is that confirmed?
No.
we don't know.
I think it is.
That's
I
what we
think.
talked about when we were coming out of the
And
movie,
I
right?
think that his series is going to be about him training his daughter.
Oh, okay.
Oh, shoot.
But this is all. I have
That's-
no
no,
reason
that's a
for
great
saying
call, Ross.
this.
I'll
is
tell you
what
what,
I think.
I was thinking
like
maybe
that.
season 2 for that training the
yeah,
daughter.
I like
Right, his
that.
daughter
It is.
becomes the next Hawkeye
Yeah.
at one point in the comics.
I like that idea, and I could see it happening, but I also think it's possible that if you wanted to do a Red Sparrow type version of a movie for Black Widow to how before she really, Nick Fury and Clint saved her, and she was just, you want to go a little darker with what she was doing as a spy, you could do that.
That's the
That'd be really cool,
speculation.
too.
Could like the red in her ledger
Yeah,
that she
yeah.
wanted to get rid of. Like I'm wondering if that's what they're going to show.
Right.
But
That could be really cool.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
so many different. They've left the door open for so many options on all of their characters, even the ones that are now dead.
Well, Loki's going alternate universe. I mean, he's got it apparently because he gets the stone, takes off, and then that's what's going to happen inside of that. And that I thought the time travel stuff worked really well. Even reading my only question that I had at the end, and now it's been cleared up after reading about it and watching it again, is the question of, well, how did Cap go back? He goes back in time, puts back all the stones, and doesn't come back through the machine. He's just sitting there. How is he sitting there if he doesn't mess up? Because that's what they say. It's different timelines. So how does he come back? And what was pointed out inside a lot of different articles and in the movie itself, as long as you go back and put those stones back to what he did, he put the stones back exactly where they were, then that timeline would continue as it did originally. And that's what he did, and that's why he was able to do what he did.
That makes perfect sense to me. There were a couple things that, in general, I'm obsessed with this movie. I love this movie. But there are a couple things I've been thinking about that I'm like,
Let's talk it through. What do you got?
Yeah.
why was Thanos so strong with no Infinity Stones? Why did we still have such a hard time beating him up?
He's the Mad Titan.
But it shouldn't have. We're all trying to take him down. He's got none of the stones, and we still can't at all. I mean,
Well, they were. I mean, are you talking about when like Thor, Cap, and Iron Man take him on?
yeah.
He's just badass. I mean, look.
But that's
look at the
that's next
beginning of
level.
Infinity War.
Well, that's the point.
And I know he had a couple stones in the beginning of Infinity War. He kicked Hulk's ass.
Yeah, but he had 2 stones. He has no
He
stones.
didn't even use
He
them.
didn't use the stones against Hulk.
But
he fought him.
doesn't just having them
remember-
make you stronger.
No, not if you're using
Not
them.
if you're not
No,
using
because
them, okay.
remember when the creepy his boy who I
like,
love
let him have his
let him
fun.
have his fun because he just wanted to mess Hulk up and he did and he's guy's a
Hulk's
brawler.
one person. I
Yeah.
mean, I think that what they've said, this is totally the answer, and I get it, but it doesn't make total sense to me that we've got Thor, who should be able to do a little bit of damage, Cap, who should be able to do a little bit of damage, and Iron Man, who should be able to do a little bit of damage, all individually, all 3 of them taking him on, not a wince.
Well,
Also younger. It's
see,
also younger Thanos too. I know it's only 4 years younger, but still younger because that was the thing that people were saying. If you look at the Infinity War Thanos is the 2018 version, right? And that's 4 years of him looking through for the stones. His philosophies have changed because when he goes in Infinity War, he just wants to level it out, bring balance, and he's at peace with it. Hence why he's sitting in a farm at the end, just kind of relaxed. The 2014, that's the same dude that was just looking for death and looking to destroy people. And it's like, yeah, I'm going to get the stones, but I'm looking to destroy. My mission, yeah, eventually I'll get to that mission and maybe I'll bring balance. But his mission was to destroy. And you saw it because he even said he was in that mindset of, oh, yeah, it's personal now. I'm just going to kill all of you. And that Thanos to me was way more dangerous. Doesn't really answer the question as far as the strength thing, but
It's
I think
not really a question. I get it, and what Riley says is the answer. It's that he's still strong.
Yeah,
but
he's
I
just
don't know. In my interpretation of Thanos as a character, realistically, if he has no stones and there's all 3 of them coming at him, it's a fair fight.
yeah.
And this was not.
and I'm going to see the fight again because
Yeah,
I've
me
only
too,
seen it
me
once
too.
because I think they got some cracks in,
Cap
and then
fucks
he
him up. Cap hits him with that hammer and messes him up.
Right.
Do
It's
you feel like if
pretty
they had
bad.
had more time,
They probably would have taken him out.
all
Yeah.
right.
Because, I mean, I think the same thing is, not old Thanos, but beaten down Thanos was not even a contest. They cut off his hand, they cut off his head, they messed him up. Captain Marvel had him because Captain Marvel was beating him up too, and then he took out the Power Stone and cracked her in the jaw with it.
Yeah.
He needed the stone
I
to
was
take her
so
out.
glad that she wasn't the one who ultimately was able to take him.
Yeah.
Because that would have been not.
It just
Yeah.
wouldn't have worked yet.
Interesting.
She hasn't earned it yet.
No.
She hasn't earned it yet. She only had one
She
movie.
was super cocky.
Yeah, and
Which
it
is
was
fine. I
but
loved
it
her
was good.
haircut.
Yeah,
I did,
it worked.
Doug.
But you were telling me yesterday was
I didn't love it.
the Submariner.
Yeah, so they
teased it, right?
Yeah, they teased it. There's an article on Collider.com, but when Okoye is checking in with Black Widow and she says there was an earthquake off Wakanda, and they're like, "Oh, what are you going to do about it?" And she's like, "Well, it's an earthquake. We're not going to do anything. It's in the ocean." That's teasing Namor, Submariner.
How is it teasing it though?
Well, he's from Atlantis,
Yeah.
and he's the version of
Aquaman,
Aquaman, right? And I know he's tied to Wakanda in that way.
Oh, okay.
So I think there's probably some more sweaties out there that can then talk on this. But I read some article that seems to be it. And then if you look to the rights, Universal owns Hulk and Namor. Now Marvel can't make standalone movies, but
Right.
they have the deal where they could do team ups. So I think they hinted that Black Panther 2 is going to have Namor in it.
Interesting.
And they've been asking for this character
Yeah, I remember.
for a long
I
time.
remember.
Let me. My biggest gripe with the movie, and it's not when I fell asleep, is how does the entire first movie, Infinity War, is them trying to get the glove off his hand, right? How in that one quick movement does Iron Man rip the glove off and put it?
Because that thing that he built in Infinity War was built through the Peter Dinklage and the very different thing. That thing that he's got in his hand, that was built by Tony and his technology.
Yeah.
So Tony.
Now it can take the stones.
It can take the stones off. He designed it to where it would be fit for him. The same way, like, those nanotech that he's got. So that's why he was able to kind of put his hands through, and that's when he was designing it. It was able to fit for his.
No, but
for his
Thanos
form.
had another glove on his hand, right? He had the.
This was
he
the
had the
glove
gauntlet.
that Hulk, right?
No, it was the nanotech one. It was.
So Thanos had the nanotech
Yes.
one on his hand.
Yes.
Okay, then that's what I missed. My bad on that.
Thanos
one.
had,
Okay,
because it fit Hulk's hand and it became that big,
Right.
and that's what they were carrying around. But then when Tony put his hand out, because in the nanotech it fit his hand, his design.
Got it.
But we can jump right into that too. I mean, that's the one that I think about the most.
Same.
Like, I've gotten emotional in that movie both times that I saw it, a few different times, and his death really gets me. Obviously, not because it's Tony Stark, but it's the performance of what Downey does in that whole entire movie. But the way that he plays it, when you just see him, the way that they did the makeup on him and everything too, the way that he looks decayed already. You're just like, I don't think there's anyone in that theater that looks and goes, oh, he can survive this. You know he's gone.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
I completely agree, and I think that the MCU's done a great job with casting. They've nailed it across the board. But Robert Downey Jr. acts circles around people,
Yeah.
that is nothing against that. I mean, Chris Evans is ridiculously talented. All of these people, they're
All of them,
Ruffalo's. But in this movie, you know from the start. You know he's a goner. I did, at least. When we're recording messages, every goodbye, every interaction, it has to be him. It can't be somebody else. And the fact that he's been talking to Doctor Strange this whole time, and Doctor Strange's like, there's this one thing. I kind of saw it coming, but his performance still is what got me shocked.
It was great. And the other thing is that everyone was guessing it's either Tony or
Cap.
It was either Tony or Cap, or Tony and Cap. And the funny thing is, they did take out Tony and Cap.
They did.
They did. They just didn't kill Cap. But they took him out of the MCU for sure. I mean, unless they do like a series during that time. But the one I don't think anybody saw was Black Widow. Because in the movie, now, so I can't remember who asked me this. Someone, I think it was Snelling. We were going back and forth on text, and he had asked in regards to didn't both Black Widow and Hawkeye know that there's going to be a sacrifice if you go to that mountain?
Yeah.
But the answer to what I had said was not necessarily, because in that scene with Thanos, when Mantis goes up and all she says is he's in a lot of pain. It's like, what did you do? They don't know. Well, he didn't say, this Red Skull told me I needed to sacrifice her, so I threw her off a mountain. He never tells her that.
They know she's gone. They
she's
can figure
gone.
Thanos killed her just
Right.
for fun.
Right.
For craps
They
and
don't know
giggles.
why. They never told it why.
You would think a conversation would have taken place, but this is so quickly after.
Yeah.
I know that we've got the 5 year, but they've all haven't interacted. It's not like they've all been powwowing, being like, "Wait, what was the breakdown of that?"
How
Can
would
you
they
tell
know?
me?
Yeah.
So I think that makes sense. But between the two of them, I knew that it was going to be her.
Yeah, well, yeah, because he's got to get back
At
to his
that
family.
point, he has to.
Yeah.
I just, unfortunately, I think that the main character the MCU did a bad job with was Black Widow, because I do not care about her.
Really?
Oh,
Wow.
Oh, she died, and I did not care.
Wow, see, I felt the opposite. I thought they handled her really well.
I could not have cared less.
I think I might side with Roxy on this
Really?
one. Just because I've made so many jokes about what is Black Widow's job other than shooting a gun while these other super mega heroes are taking out people. And
she took over the whole team. She was.
Well, in that one scene where she's just like talking to people, I get it.
That's why I
I know
wanna
that
see a
she's.
movie of that.
I know that she's the brains per se, and she's very good at, and she has some great fight scenes in the movie. Don't
Civil
get me wrong.
War. You don't think she was great in Civil War?
She was good in Civil War. That the fight scene in the
Yeah, but just
the market.
she was the one maneuvering around with Nick Fury.
They needed to have her have a standalone movie. They needed to have me more invested. I mean, Hulk didn't have one, but he showed
Yeah,
up
he
in
did.
such a big. He had one, but our version, Ruffalo didn't have his own. But then he had Ragnarok, and he had such big arcs in other ones.
Let me counter that real quick. What if the Black Widow movie would have stunk?
I just needed more of her character.
Okay.
I needed, and I don't think it would have stunk. I love Black Widow in general. I love her. I love so many of her, the things that I know about her and of her comics. And in this series, she just was fine. I much preferred Scarlet Witch. Not that it has to be a comparison, but that's who I was really
But she
invested
didn't have
in.
a movie.
No.
Yeah.
She didn't.
You just thought they did a better job handling her character.
I did, and a lot of people disagree with that.
I'm definitely like on a fence with that comment because it's like I can totally see where you're coming from. And
I
I
did
can
love
totally
that
see-
moment though. It's one of my favorite moments in the movie where when Scarlet Witch comes back and she's like, "You took everything from me," and Thanos goes, "I have no idea who you are."
Who you are.
So good.
I have no idea. And
Yeah.
oh god, that was so strong.
It was great.
So strong.
Yeah.
Let me ask another like simpleton question, I guess, because I'm like superheroes for dummies
They're
sometimes.
called Avengers.
Avengers.
No, Avengers.
No,
Avengers.
With an E.
Got it.
According to the hashtag, though, that went
The
around.
Avengers.
Avengers.
How
Kobe
is like the
Smulders.
snapping of the finger? How are you able to like pick who you? Do you know what I mean?
Those were the one rules that rule was never really explained all the way through because what Thanos
so like
says
Thanos
in,
does, he's
what
kills
Thanos says
everything.
in Infinity War is like, I snap my fingers and I can do because his idea, what he wanted to do in that 2018 version was to wipe everybody out, half the population out to bring balance, and that's what he did. So their mission, what they want to do with a snap of the fingers, like whether or not how you do it mentally, because Hulk said, I tried so hard to bring back Natasha, but I just couldn't do it.
That's one of the rules, but you have the imagination stone. So then, other than those
That's
few
right.
exceptions,
That's right.
you can
Think it.
imagine.
It's like your
Got it.
intentions, right?
Yeah.
You go,
Yeah.
I'm going to save the people that were dusted.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's what they were able to do. And I think but what I thought they set up really well was even when Hulk was like, it's got to be me, because we'll get into Thor, because Thor's such a mess. And when I first saw the movie, I didn't think that I liked it. Right, because I thought they were going to go for that Guardians of the Galaxy 2 humor. And I'm like, oh, that's all we're going to do this entire movie with Thor now. He's just going to become a punchline. But it served purpose.
Yeah.
There was a reason why, because he was so distraught. It's like one of the great athletes of all time who lost the big game and just couldn't get back, or lost a big fight and couldn't
That's why
get back.
it worked when he saw his mom. That
I agree.
was so
Yeah,
moving to
I
me.
agree.
And she knows. And for her to be able to be that strong in that moment, being like, it's going to be okay, whatever. Oh,
and
God.
eat a salad.
Yeah,
That was my
eat
favorite.
salad.
It was
Totally.
good. But
That
all,
was so strong.
But and the reason why it worked even more so the second time was during that scene when Hulk, when they're trying to figure out who's going to do it, and he's like, "I'm doing it." Thor steps in and goes, "I'm doing it," and Downey's like, "You can't, man." He's like, "You're just not up for it." It's like you can't do it. You can't handle it. And that's when Hulk sets it up nicely and goes, "I've got to be the one that does it. The Gamma will protect me.
Yeah.
If any one of you do it, you'll die."
Right.
And like that's where it sets it up, and it doesn't kind of foreshadow it right away. I mean, or it doesn't telegraph it.
Right.
How did everybody survive that building collapsing though?
The explosions in the
Yeah.
building, especially Ant-Man.
I know, but I mean that's when you suspend disbelief.
Like
Yes.
Hawkeye, how'd you survive that?
Yeah.
Got lucky.
I mean, Hulk landed where it landed, and he was able to keep Hawkeye alive. I mean,
I'm all right with it.
Me too.
I'm all right with
I'm being nitpicky
Yeah.
because I'm analyzing something that I love so
that
much.
building, when that building blew up, though, that was devastating.
That was
Yeah.
devastating. And I thought Rocket was going. Did you hear his screams? Like,
No.
it affected
Oh,
me.
yeah.
I was like,
Yeah,
oh
yeah.
my God.
They couldn't breathe. Yeah,
What
yeah,
were the
yeah.
moments you guys
Breathing.
were the most affected by?
It's some of the humor. Actually, where speaking, Rocket was on fire this entire movie.
Yes.
This is again where my
He's the
point. And
best.
I hate to where it's always I feel like I'm piling on Guardians 2. It's just the fact that with Guardians 2, everybody has a joke, and it's like even though they're funny jokes, it's just it doesn't fit inside of the narrative of the story. This to me, when Rocket would tell a joke, it fit what was going on and fit his personality. Where he's sitting there, and Paul Rudd says something about space, like, "Oh, you want to go to space? The puppy want to go to space? I'll take you to space, puppy." Because it was like that to me is just like breaking balls, and just like he was great. Now, who here has been to space before?
yeah.
Great, like that type of humor to me
Right,
worked all
right.
the way through. So it was some of those moments that worked. And I thought Paul Rudd was really great, but the standout to me is Karen Gillan, who I'm not a fan of in these movies.
Really?
In these movies. In
Oh
in
my
Oculus,
God.
in Oculus, I liked her very much. But in this in all the other movies, her voice sometimes is just a little too over the top for me. But this, it worked. Her character was done well. Her performance was done well. I think that if of all the arcs, it was the one that got to me because of where she had been and ended up.
I'm a sisters person, so
You got it. Yeah.
Oh my God, that worked for me so much.
Did it bother you how fast Gamora turned? Because
No,
it's
'cause
2014.
It's in her. It's in her. But I do have a question about her, but I want to get your guys' moments
Yeah.
too that stood out to you first before I ask about Gamora.
Go ahead, Mark.
I mean, I think Iron Man
going.
The death of Iron Man really, truly affected me. I was in tears in it. And then I just watched Iron Man this week, and it was on TV. And right at that moment when he says, "I am Iron Man," to come full circle like that for the performance that Downey turned in.
And the little girl, though, sitting with Favreau.
with the burgers.
He's like, "You like cheeseburgers?" Yeah. He's like,
And
"Yeah, I
that
like
callback,
cheeseburgers." Yeah.
it's just, it was one of, I think it was such a beautiful moment, I am Iron Man, for him to do that. A perfect close to the MCU of this phase, these phases.
Downey kicked everyone's ass at the end at the premiere. He was with the little girl, and all the cast were saying things like goodbye and thank you to everyone, and they'd said like these long things. And Downey's like, "We're not gonna." He's like, "I'm not gonna say a big long thing," and he hugs the girl and he goes, "I'll just say, we love you 3000." And it just everyone was like, "Oh, yeah,
brutal."
Wow.
For me, the Captain America moment, I think, is the most underrated moment of the movie. I know a lot of people.
Which one? Which part?
At the end.
Oh, yeah.
When he's the old man. It was your
beautiful
Field of
too.
Dreams moment.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It was, like, Dad, let's have a catch, because he finally got to go back and do what he's always wanted to do, which is just be with Peggy Carter.
Yeah.
And you knew as soon as he
Not her niece."
Not the niece, although Van Camp is quite attractive. When he accidentally is in Peggy Carter's office, and by the way, another Field of Dreams moment when he's with his dad, he's with Howard Stark.
Yeah.
That's when I started crying. I was like, I'm in that moment, and
So good.
so great, right? And so when he accidentally goes in Peggy Carter's, that's when I said to myself, okay, so he's going to use, and he takes a bunch of the Pym particles, like he takes more than he probably should,
Right.
and. You know that he's going to go back to be with Peggy Carter, and a timeline, all the things, that makes total sense to me. But when he is sitting on that bench, and you know that that's old Captain America, it just got me. It just got me in all the right places, and I like that he gave the shield to.
I was just going to
Falcon.
ask, how do we feel about
Bucky. I'm sorry.
Yeah. See, here's my.
It should have been Bucky. I agree, but
I'm
I don't mind
sorry.
that it was Falcon.
I love Anthony Mackie.
Yeah.
But that has not been the two of their relationship. And in the comics, they go both ways sometimes.
Falcon's done it, and Winter Soldier has too.
Yeah, but it should have been Bucky. In the universe they created, who gets it? And I'm sure I'm going to get so much hate on the internet, but this is what they've shown
I'm
us.
surprised that they gave us the Falcon moment there too, because considering not only even in this movie, the way that he's able to get his other self to stop fighting him as he goes, Bucky's alive. Because Bucky meant so much to him.
Bucky.
And they don't even have a moment at the end. They didn't even have like a
Bucky's just standing there looking.
yeah. It was weird that they didn't have.
I agree. That was a little weird.
I was confused why, because I think because everyone called it happened with Bucky, plus the fact that Falcon doesn't have any powers.
He doesn't have the
Right.
serum.
Well, I was wondering this because this is what went through my mind, and this is geeky, but we still haven't resolved Bucky from Civil War. I mean, he was like a wanted man, and then Civil War happens to protect him because they.
I think people are probably a little more forgiving now. considering
Now,
everyone
sure,
died
but
and
yeah,
came
but then
back.
it went. So I'm like, it's really so nitpicky, but that's where I went in my head and went. And then Falcon is in the comics. I think I don't know. Who got
What
it
was your
first.
moment, Rox?
My moment that I actually cried during was when all of the women came out fighting together.
that was awesome.
But I felt like such a cliche because I made it for the whole movie, and I'm like, all right, I'm not going to cry. And then they all came out, and I was like, that's so cool. Like, you think when Black Widow dies, oh, they just killed off their main woman who's left of the female
those
characters.
girls.
And then they've just built up so many kick butt women.
Yeah.
And just watching them all, like, especially with Captain Marvel and all of the Black Panther women and
Tessa Thompson,
Yeah.
Oh,
Valkyrie.
Valkyrie,
Tessa
like
Thompson.
That
everybody
horse,
coming
she's
out.
riding in on that horse.
man.
So
good.
rad.
It was just so freaking cool.
Yeah.
The Guardians, like all of the women in this universe, where like you think about 20 years ago, and it would have been like two girls trickling out. Like, you go, man, you can get it. Like, it was so cool.
Let me
Yeah,
ask you
good one.
this: do you think that, because I know you're not a big fan, do you think that Doctor Strange had like a redemption song in this movie?
This was my favorite of his performances. This is the least I've hated the character
Well, he's hardly in
so
it.
far.
Right.
That's probably why, right?
He's so great.
And
in
I,
He's really
that
good.
one
Yeah.
moment
And
where he
and
just,
this, but
when he puts up the finger and Robert Downey Jr. knows
Yeah.
that this is
I
the
got
one.
chills.
That moment was unbelievable, and that for me was like, all right, he's okay in this.
Yeah. Oh, and and by the way, I love that whole scene with the Ancient One and Hulk, where she
So
knocks him
great.
out of his body and they have the conversation, but to where they're having this long conversation, he's just like, what the hell was Strange talking about then? Why did he give him the stone? And she's like, wait, what? what did he do?
Yeah.
And then she just gives it over, but she's like, he's the best of us.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that he hasn't even been there yet. Like, she knows because she's got the time stone. You know? So it's like, that was all
That
put together
worked.
very well. And speaking of humor, one of my favorite moments, comedy-wise, was when the Hulk gets to New York and he's like, go smash things. He's like, ah,
Yeah.
ah. It's like, this is, what does he call it, redundant or something? Whatever he says, excessive. I can't remember whatever he says. Because that was another one, the first time I saw it, I didn't know if I liked, because I was waiting for Hulk, because the whole thing in Infinity War is Hulk won't come out.
Yeah. Right.
And I was waiting for that moment before I saw it, like, oh shit, he's going to come out, he's going to be aggressive, and he's going to mess Thanos up. And then they basically turned him into Beast from X-Men, right? And I didn't know if I liked that the first time I saw it, but the second time I saw it, I loved it because it's the catching it when you're talking about it at the diner, and that diner scene with the selfies with the kids,
So
all of
good.
that. Yeah, once I knew that, and once I knew the Thor stuff, I took that in and realized how well it worked for the kind of evolution of the character.
I wanted it to go there because it's one of my favorite Hulk things from the comics
Yeah.
is when he merges the two.
Yeah.
And when they just hit the ground running with it, I'm like, this is what I wanted. Yes, all right.
Do you guys think that we're going to be able to get Vision back?
I was
in the
surprised-
show.
I was surprised.
Well, I don't
getting
know.
the
if,
show,
yeah,
yeah.
but is that?
I have
we
no
don't know where
idea.
on the
I have
timeline.
no
She
idea
said
where
the
it came
50s.
from. She said it's in the 50s.
Yeah.
So
50s is weird.
It's
WandaVision.
bizarre. I thought we would be able to in Endgame get Vision back somehow.
I'm glad we didn't. Because I'm glad we didn't. Not because I don't like Vision. And
Like his Infinity Stone would have been able to bring all of Vision back. I don't know why.
yeah, but I'm glad because that whole thing, because then you could have bring back Gamora, and then you could bring back.
So a question about that.
Yeah.
We don't see Gamora, I don't believe, you've seen it twice, get
Yeah.
dusted when Iron Man snaps.
Right.
But all of Thanos' people that he brought back did get dusted.
Right.
Are we assuming she's dusted with them?
no.
So-
She was fighting with them. She
was
came
fighting.
back in time.
Right, but how do
with
you,
Nebula.
when you're snapping, how do you differentiate everybody who is fighting with, everybody who Thanos brought here,
Yeah.
Gamora being one of them?
I think that he knew. I think that because
So he could
again,
compartmentalize?
He remembers Star-Lord. How Star-Lord lost the first battle because of his love for Gamora, and he.
So you think that that Gamora, past Gamora, is now going to stay in the future
yes,
with the
and
Guardians?
I think that's and that I think she took off. She took off, and that's why Star-Lord is looking at that where to find her.
Yeah.
That's what Volume 3 is going to be about.
About
and I
finding
love
Gamora,
that.
yeah.
And is Thor going to be in Volume 3?
If he's
Yeah.
not, it's a missed opportunity.
Okay.
Totally.
So
He's
you
gonna be in
think
it.
Thor's going to be there? Gamora, it's going to be this hunt for past Gamora.
It's
And he's going to have trouble losing weight. I think that could be a funny.
I think he'll be. I think he'll be back
to
to
be
back
Thor.
to
Yeah,
normal.
because I think that the thing is that this is a way to do another Thor sequel with Guardians, and that would get me very excited for Guardians because I love Ragnarok.
Oh yeah,
Ragnarok's
me
my
too.
favorite
I
out of all three Thors.
loved the fact that we got Mig and the other
Oh,
guy.
Meek
what
and Korg.
and Korg.
What a great moment
Awesome.
that was.
Jump on the Wi-Fi.
Want to connect it to the
Yeah,
Wi-Fi?
you connect to the Wi-Fi.
Thanks, Thor.
So good.
Yeah, we don't
Thank God I
don't
was
say
missing
that-
those
We
guys.
don't really say that name around here.
Mig's back. Oh, hi, Mig.
How did
Oh,
you
he's
guys
not dead.
feel about the hammer situation with Cap?
Are you
Amazing.
kidding me?
Yeah.
loved it.
That was the moment I haven't screamed that loud in a movie, and we were in the press screening.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this clarification question: are we to believe that anybody who is
Worthy.
or one person per planet is worthy?
No, I think it's anybody who's worthy.
And I
that's
think at
kinda-
that moment, and they set it up in Ultron. He almost
With the-
he
it
went
vibrates,
and he got
yeah.
it, and Thor went. And so when Thor says, "I knew it," that was a beautiful payback from Ultron of all things. And I think it needed to happen there, and the Hammer knew it. They needed some help. Cap's worthy, and he was able to wield it.
I feel like it's one person per planet. I feel like you're only of where you're from. One of you can be worthy.
They
and
both
Cap
used
is
it on Earth though. They like traded it off.
No.
No.
He's saying
From
he's
where you're
saying-
from.
Yeah, she's saying
like
basically.
he's Asgardian.
Oh, I
Right.
see what you mean.
Yeah.
So
So
one
she's saying no
species
other
or whatever.
Earthling would be able to use
Right.
besides Cap.
That's what but I have no idea why I think that.
Right.
Because you would think more than one person then would be worthy on Earth.
Right. You never know.
Depends.
I mean,
Cap earned it though.
But that's what made Cap so special. is
Yeah.
The fact that he was, in his story in general, is that it doesn't matter about that serum. It was what made him so pure. Was that he was the ultimate soldier. He was the ultimate just human. You know, and I thought that they played him really well. Curious to how they're going to do this series with the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, because their dynamic has been pretty good so far. I mean, I thought the Civil War stuff they did together was great.
Yeah.
But you know, I thought that what Endgame I think has done successfully is made you very curious about these series.
And the future.
Which one are you most invested in after Endgame?
Loki. Yeah, because I'm a sucker for the time stuff. I'm a sucker
You and
for
Makuga both.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for that stuff, like the alternate time, because I want to see now what happens. Where does he go? And is Thanos? Thanos isn't around, right? Because so what happens to those Infinity Stones? Like what's going on? Like
Any thoughts?
No, I mean I don't know where they could go with it. I don't know where that Loki would go. I don't know what could happen. But that's a smart way to bring him back and not bring him back to life. Like let him die off. That was my biggest concern going into Endgame, was that they were going to snap back everybody who died before the snap.
Gamora and Loki.
And they didn't. And I thought that was great.
Yes,
Yeah.
I agree. I
Yeah.
think that I loved that caveat, because that's always been my problem with friggin' Flash and all this kind of stuff, is he just keeps going back for like personal things, and then somebody always ruins it by bringing back I like that was our, you know, like not wrapping up, but that we got that.
Yeah.
That he's like, no, only the people that were vanished, like only these people that... One of the things that I liked about the time travel was that it wasn't infinite. Do you know what I mean? Like we couldn't just be like, oh, we got to keep going back in time. Oh, we got to keep going back in time. They had,
And then do it again, and then do it again.
and then do it again.
So
like
the
this
Flash.
was just, and then yes, correct. And then they broke the whole thing. They destroyed that thing,
Yeah.
and only Tony knew how to really do it,
Right.
and it was gone.
Yep.
That's totally fine with me. I really dug that whole thing, and if that's the way we're going to do the time travel in this movie,
You're okay with it?
Totally
Yeah.
fine with it, because when we start getting into all these friggin' timelines, then it could start getting a little too just meh for me. The one thing that I really loved about the movie was that the time jumps were all for a purpose.
Right.
Do you know what I'm saying? And they all had their own little, I don't want to say like quirk, but their own like really memorable moments. So you had, like you talked about the Ancient One pushing Hulk
Yeah.
out of the body,
Yeah.
right? Then you had the Captain America versus Captain America fight,
Yeah.
which
Oh,
was
that was
just
great.
the coolest, right?
Hulk smashing Tony go up
Yes.
the stairs and everything.
Yes,
Yeah.
awesome. The whole Black Widow Hawkeye thing was so well done that the time travel, and then like you said, then Howard Stark and Tony Stark getting to see each other, and
Yeah.
Captain America getting to see Peggy Carter.
Star-Lord doing the dance and getting whacked out by
Yes.
by
That was funny.
Rhodey, and
Yeah, it was.
Rhodey was really funny in this movie too, by the way.
Yeah, totally.
Back to the Future monologue that they have with the
Yeah.
hot tub
Fantastic.
time machine thing.
Yes,
Yeah, it was
yeah.
That was
really
really funny. I agree.
So, but I think for me, what the biggest question from all of this is, so 5 years have gone by, right? All the people that were dusted lose 5 years, and then they come back.
Yep.
And what does it almost seemed like when they were in the school with Spider-Man, that the school
Yeah.
looked pristine and perfect, and they were back to just school as normal. I want to know. I want to see what that world is like.
I
And
think
that's-
you're going to. I think in
Yeah.
July.
Far From Home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're going to get that movie, because that's the question. The people who didn't get dusted are 5 years older,
Right.
And where are they now? So all those people got to go back. Plus the people who are already in school. I hope that they play with that and they don't ignore it, because that would be a problem.
There's
So-
there's some chat going on the
Yeah.
Collider Live thing.
Yeah.
They're saying that they saw Ben Mendelsohn in the school with Peter.
Really?
I did not see that.
I did not see it either. I don't know. So this is a rumor for now. I want to go see it with that intention to find that, because that could be setting up Secret Wars with the Skrulls. Because if he comes back and he's hiding in plain sight, I don't know. That might be interesting.
Right.
I want to see it. You
but
didn't
they
see
saw
it, huh?
him in his scroll form?
No,
or
no,
they
no.
saw-
No, he was Ben Mendelsohn, but
I didn't. I mean, I
human
saw it,
form.
So I saw it twice. I didn't see him, but was
Yeah, I want to look.
Yeah, we'll look.
I don't
Is
know.
there like
I don't know.
screenshots somewhere that somebody has?
There's just a talk. I mean, it's the first I've seen of it or heard of it,
Wow.
so
There's
that could be
so-
interesting.
There's so many layers to this frickin' movie. Like, holy crap.
That's
Yeah.
what. Yeah. So there's.
It's so commendable what they did. How
It's
how
incredible.
did you do this?
Yeah.
They were saying the Russos did say that when Cap went and stayed back in the past, he created a branch of an alternate kind of line, and that's how he was able to stay. I gotta dig into this
Gotta
article
look
a
into
little
it. He's
deeper.
like, yeah, if he created a branch, how did it get back?
That's what I don't understand.
Yeah. How did he get back?
I'm very
How
interested
did
to
Cap
see it
get
again.
back?
Yeah.
He didn't get back. He lived.
No, but that's the thing. If you go back And that's the thing is if he lived, but he would have lived throughout that other timeline. That's what they set up in the beginning. That was the biggest question everybody had. So if they would have gone back and lived in New York during the time where they was talking to the Ancient One.
This is what they set up. When
Tony?
Hulk
Oh.
when Hulk is doing that snapping or the machine, right?
Yeah.
And you're coming back.
Time
and
lives in it, yeah.
whatever. You have the say of how long you're living before you come back.
Right. No, I'm not saying that, but you still.
he lived the whole life, and
course.
then in the last.
That's not what I'm saying though. What I mean is like, so when you can live as long as you do and you'll live it out. But the thing is, so if he jumped back into New York where, let's say, the Hulk is talking to Ancient One, right, and lived his whole life out there, he'd be living out in that timeline. It wouldn't go back into the timeline that we knew because it's a completely different
Right,
timeline.
he lived that timeline, and then when he was old, that's when he decides when it's not a snap, it's a whatever, he's a flick or whatever.
So he did jump back into. See, that's
Let me
not,
give you
that
a
wasn't
quote. Let me
explained.
give you a quote
Yeah.
from
That's
the
what I
Russos.
figured.
So it was at, does Cap go back to live in the past, or does he go live in another dimension? The directors say it's the latter. If Cap were to go back into the past and live there, he would create a branched reality, Joe explained. The question then becomes, how is he back in this reality
Right.
to give the shield away? The brothers smile. Interesting question, right? Joe said. Maybe there's a story there. There's a lot of
okay.
layers built in this movie. We spent
All right.
3 years thinking
Okay.
through it.
You know,
So it's
and-
fun to talk about.
And guess what?
You're fine with that.
I trust them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
good. That's it. Now I'm good. Like, okay, so but they've thought about it. There's another story there.
I wonder if it's
maybe
Cap and Falcon and Bucky.
What if we get our own Captain America series down the line
No, I mean Chris Evans seems to be done. Obviously, he was
right now.
saying all these things right.
right now?
What I could see Marvel going forward, doing a lot. Black Panther 2, Doctor Strange
Yeah.
2, introducing the Eternals, all these things, Black Widow, and then all of a sudden we've been digging all this stuff. All of a sudden, Captain America 4.
You could do another one because the thing is,
How
he's,
do you guys feel about them recasting him?
I don't want that
No?
right now. I
Even
love him too
if
much.
If he's older and
too confusing.
Okay, I agree.
Yeah,
I
it's
agree.
too confusing. You don't need to. 'Cause
But it
there's so
just
many
sounds
other
like he does
characters.
not want anything to do with it.
Yeah. I mean, he's been pretty blown away by all the support that he's gotten afterwards too. But he's been, and I get it. Look, he's been playing the character now for what?
10 years, 9 years,
almost 9 years.
Yeah.
So
because that did it go Iron Man and then Captain America was the first standalone after Iron Man?
no, we said this the other day. Actually, the first movie was Iron Man. The second
Incredible
one was,
Hulk.
Second one was Hulk.
Oh, right.
Then Iron Man 2,
Then Iron
then
Man 2.
Thor,
That's what it
then
was.
First Avenger,
Right.
then Avengers.
Thor came before First Avengers.
Yeah,
Yes,
because at
because
the end of Iron Man
It's
2,
just the
they
hammer.
found the hammer.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Interesting.
Have you guys gone back and rewatched?
Yeah, I
all-
have, but I guess in different orders.
So
Okay.
on
Like I did Iron Man, Iron Man, Iron
Okay.
Man, Cap.
Okay.
this weekend, TBS, TNT, all the cable stations when I was flicking through, a lot of them were playing Marvel movies, right? So I caught Ant-Man, I caught the first Iron Man, I caught Civil War or Winter Soldier, and a couple of them, and it is so interesting to go back and watch those because they almost, I don't want to seem rudimentary, but they're just not on the spectacle level
Right.
that we've seen from
They're more
Infinity
simple.
War. Yes,
Yeah.
correct.
Right.
And I'm not saying that's bad or good. I'm just saying it's a different movie to watch.
You got to build. You got to
Totally.
build to it. Yeah, it's kind of
And
earning it.
Ant-Man still holds up for me. I just love that movie.
And
It is
the
great.
first Ant-Man was so good.
So
I
good.
love them both.
Did you?
Yeah.
I didn't love and
I
the Wasp.
love Evangeline Lilly, aka
Oh,
Chloe
me
Smulders.
too.
I
Oh.
do too.
I just didn't love the villain and the plot in that movie.
It suffered from a lot of the same stuff Guardians 2 did. It's
Yeah.
just they just started focusing too much on the give everybody a
Sometimes.
joke. And what's his name? The one guy, was it Michael? Who's the detective?
Michael Pena? Oh
No.
What's
Bring
hold on.
Bring up the
Wait, sorry,
cast.
I
No.
wasn't paying attention.
All right.
Bobby Cannavale.
No. Ant-Man. I like him and Ant-Man and the Wasp. I'll tell you. Bring up the cast if you please. And this guy played the detective in it. He was so over the top. Randall Park.
Oh.
Who I like in a lot of different things,
Fresh
but
off the boat.
he's been in a few different
In New
things
Alley
sometimes
Wong
where it's
Station,
just like it's just so over the top. He just again very similar. We were just talking about with the uncle.
Yeah.
I never Ewan. It wasn't real. It wasn't a real character. It was a sitcom character.
You're on.
You're on.
You want
Ray.
Rayon? Yeah, I know.
I don't
It's
care.
so good.
Doesn't matter.
So good.
Anyway, so you know what we should do?
You're
Let's
a real
take a
piece of
couple.
work.
Let's take a couple calls from the fans,
Yeah.
and I want to see only obviously if you've seen the movie, and bring up some of the things you'd like to talk about. And before we even do that, Cody, anything that we didn't talk about that stood out to you that you wanted to talk about?
I guess my favorite moment was when Pepper tells Tony it's all going to be
Yeah.
okay. We're all going to be fine. That part really broke me because that's all he ever wanted was be able to protect everybody, and it worked out.
I want to protect the people, and that's what he says in the first one. Your girl was great in that
She
scene.
was.
She was really
She was-
good.
I've never said anything about
Better acting.
Gwyneth Paltrow being a bad actress.
Yes, you did. You said she's never made a movie better that she's been in.
I think you did say that.
Yeah, I did. But, I mean,
It's not a written.
yeah, that's true.
That's
You're
not a
right.
great
You know what?
movie.
You know what? I scale back. If there's nothing, if not, I'm a flip flopper. So yeah, no, I have such forget it. But I will say
It was a good move. It was a good moment.
It was a great moment.
Yeah.
But her as the other
Right.
Iron Man, I'm like, when did he train her?
Oh, Iron Man 3.
Oh, that's right. He did train her in Iron Man 3.
Yeah. But when she does that moment, because what I thought was really sweet about it was like a trifecta. Like he was so distraught about the kid, about losing the kid, Spider-Man. Because even when he comes back and he tells Cap, "I lost the kid," and Cap's like, "Dude, we lost everybody."
Yeah.
But then he looks at that picture, and like you never really see. A lot of times you would see Tony's heart throughout the series of these films, but it was always layered with a joke first, and in comes the kid, shows up, he starts talking to him, and there's no joke, there's nothing. He just hugs him.
Yeah.
And you went, and then even the kid goes, "This is nice." and then it's the kid, it's Tom Holland first who sees him, and he breaks down, and he's just done. And Pepper
crushed
just
me.
very nicely kind of pushes him off to the side, has the conversation with Tony, lets him see that she's cool, everybody's cool. She stays really strong. Then he goes, and then she loses it.
Yeah.
That it was
So good.
very well directed, very well done.
Real question for you guys, not pulling my Roxy stuff. Possibly nominated for an Oscar?
You got a shot.
Who
You got
gets
a-
it?
Best
I think it's-
Picture?
I think Downey's got a shot for best actor.
I think he should be
think so?
nominated
Yeah.
for Best
I would
Actor. I don't think he's got a
love
shot, but I think he should be.
I think he's
Of
got a
all
shot.
of them, I think it should be him.
I hope so.
I saw Enrico pushing for Cap, but I think it should be Robert Downey
Cap
Jr.
was good, and he did some good
This
stuff.
will
but
definitely get a Best Picture nom. I mean, if Black Panther got a Best Picture nom, this will get a Black.
It
I don't
should.
think it does.
No, Return of the King.
I'm wondering. That's a good point.
Yeah. It's the
Because of
closeout.
what they did,
It's the closeout.
because they
Maybe.
nominated
What they were able to
Lord of the
accomplish in
Rings.
this
Yeah.
movie is
Yeah.
effing crazy.
And if you put
And
that on there,
if you
the
put
box
that up
office,
against Roma, I'm like, give me
Well,
a
you just
friggin'
said
break.
it. Don't forget
What's
that
the deal with that?
they do.
It's just dog shit in the hallway.
Academy does award box office. They do it subtly, but they award box office. They did it with Titanic. They did it with Return of the King. They
Avatar.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
award box office. This is going to be highly considered. Because what's the movie at right now, by the way, as far as box office
Box
goes? What did it do
office.
last night? So weekend. That's just weekend. But yeah, just open it up. Let's see. It's made
Boy, I was way up, huh?
357 so far. So it only. But that's not. It only made 7 million last night.
It appears Monday's not in yet.
Monday's not in yet. Okay, but it closed out at 357.
Jesus.
What are we at globally?
Globally, go back again, Cody. I'm sorry.
I mean, I was like 895, or no, I said like 985 was my prediction.
It's at 1.3.
Holy
1.3. Yeah. So Monday's
So
total.
this is going to beat Avatar, you think?
I don't know. 2.7 is still a
Still
long way to
far,
go, man.
still far.
Yeah, because there's so many other movies coming out, and Disney's going to wind up being its own worst enemies because it's got Lion King, it's got Toy Story and Aladdin.
And Spidey, don't we have?
Spidey's June, July, yeah, but I mean it's still.
Oh.
You know what's
Lion
going to
King's
be
also
its worst enemy that's going to take away from it is Cody's highlight of the year.
Pikachu.
Pikachu's not going to hit it that hard.
I know, but it'll still take
It'll
away
take
that
something
weekend
out.
box, yeah.
Yeah.
Are you going
All
to
right.
the screen
Thank you,
tomorrow?
Cody. Yes, I'm seeing Pikachu tomorrow.
Are you team Cody?
I'm
They-
going.
They wouldn't give me a +1. So.
But you are going, Cody.
I'm going.
All right, hey,
Nice.
you're in Collider Live. Who do we got?
It's Billy from Milwaukee.
Hello, Billy. Billy, so you got some Avengers stuff for us?
Oh yeah, I was gonna say I am a huge MCU fan. It's basically my Star Wars.
Nice.
So I love the movie. I've seen it 4 different times already. And I guess the moments that got to me were Captain America saying Avengers Assemble finally after all these movies, building up to it after Age of Ultron, giving you the little hint of it. But that that moment got me emotional in like a happy way every single time I've seen it. And then just the Iron Man snapping the fingers after saying I am Iron Man was perfect. I can't believe I didn't see it coming. But Thanos kept on saying I am inevitable, and I was just like, when he answers back with I am Iron Man, it's just amazing. Like,
Yeah, that's a cool,
So
really
good.
cool moment.
So
I have
Perfect.
chills
You
thinking about it.
was the theater you were in? Did everybody cheer when he said it?
Oh yeah, every single time.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
When Cap gets me in there, they go nuts.
How many times have you
When,
seen it?
just
Four.
Four, you said?
Four
Okay.
times. Yeah. Going again tonight. Too,
Awesome.
so.
Nice.
You mentioned the MCU. I gotta ask though too, because we didn't really talk about it on the show yet. Did you get a chance to see the MCU trivia match that we put up?
I did see it. Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, because I mean, I won't ruin who won, but how did you do there? Because the person who wound up winning was very impressive.
I was. Yeah. I would probably have been in the middle of the pack, but
Okay.
I was impressed by how good. Like some questions, I was like, boy, I didn't even know that
He was,
myself. But
yeah, that person was really, really good. Who won?
In being in the crowd for that match too, every time he got one wrong, everybody was like, or right, you were just like, man, here we go. Like it was machine.
It was a performance.
Yeah.
So, all right, well, thank you so much for the call, man. I appreciate it.
Five times. This guy's a machine. I love it.
And I understand it though. There's sometimes people see movies like, oh, I just saw Dumbo 7 times in the theater. Like, what are you doing?
I got to take Amanda this week for sure.
Yeah, you got to. And it's so much better the second time.
Oh,
It's
yeah, I'm
crazy.
excited.
Wait.
Because
Hopefully
when
I
you
don't fall
say-
asleep this time.
When you say that about Dumbo, I mean, I did not particularly like this most recent one, but people find their feel-good ones, so they go a lot. This movie, it's not just about being a feel-good movie. It's about I need to figure out all the different corners.
It
of
heightens
this.
the experience.
Yeah.
It does. It heightens
That's
the
why
experience.
Relive
I
the
wanna
moments.
Go again.
I want to see it again. And it's a 3-hour movie. I've seen it twice. I want to see it again. And like for Infinity War, I saw it twice in the theater, and then I was cool. I think I've seen it like 5 or 6 times. You know the movie, and whether it was it's on Netflix now,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I'll pop on the ending of it.
So,
watch
do you
that.
think Infinity War or Endgame is better?
Endgame now? Initially, when I saw Infinity, when I saw it the first time in my review, I said I liked Infinity War more. After that second time seeing it, piecing it together emotionally, it does more. I love it.
So
For
is
right now, if
Endgame
I was
your
gonna
number
rank-
one?
Yeah, I would say Endgame's my number 1. Infinity War is my 2. Winter Soldier is 3, and then Civil War is 4. I don't know if what was.
We should maybe do all of our lists. I know Roxy put out her list
Yeah.
after Endgame, but it would be a cool thing to do this week, maybe tomorrow or Thursday or whatever.
Bring in the whole list.
Yeah, bring in a whole list and
Give
we
your
all
top
can-
10?
I
I'd
think,
say
or just
22.
Or just
yeah,
top
give-
5?
give-
Oh,
No,
just
I'd
the
say-
list.
I'd say just put together your list.
Yeah.
Your top
Let's
do it.
22. Yeah.
I have to see Endgame again though, because it was 5 on my list. It might be higher.
It'll jump after the second time because it was.
My list changes every single time I do a rewatch.
Yeah. What was your number 1 right now?
My number 1 is Infinity War.
It is Infinity War.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it'll jump. I think it'll jump. Are we
Yeah.
did it again. All right,
It
we did
is.
it again. All right,
It's
listen,
nice.
that's the show, everybody.